'Tis the season to be jolly, and so we have a Jester. Well, this one is actually a skeletal Jester, and I'm running a D&D game in which case there is a nasty guy called a Red Jester, and he uses a deck of many things as a missile weapon. So I've been actually wanting to get this one painted up for quite a while, even though he's quite a spindly figure. This is from Printable Dragon, which is a 3D figure printing workshop that's in my city, and they do some absolutely gorgeous miniatures, and this is one of theirs, and when I saw them I just had to have them. And again, I'm just doing the base in first so that I can then work up onto the rest of the figure. It's a dry brush of grey on the base, but I've got to be so careful with this guy because he is so thin. I mean, it looks amazing, but the last thing I want to do is break it. I mean, look at that leg is all that is holding the rest of that miniature up. It is so fragile. Anyway, proper paint job for him. Did I mention how nervous I am about handling this model? Right, I think the best way to attack this is to get all of the bone done first, and what I'm doing is a flesh wash over the bone area just to get that shading in, and being so careful on how I hold it. It's untrue, and then around the back of the neck there and around onto the face, and he's got exposed rib cage in there as well, so catch all of that. And that can dry for a good little while before I start applying bleached bone and then getting on to the actual colours of the costume. Now that I've got the shading on those bones, I'm going to bring the colour up, and this is just bleached bone. I'll brush on those fingers, and then let's get that skull defined. Now the main scheme for the clothing, I'm going to do yellow red with purple spot colour, and I'm going to start off with the lightest colour yellow, and I'm going to try and dot it around. Now I'll do one of the boots yellow first, and then one of the pantaloons on the opposite side, and then I'll turn it on the arms, and I'm using a larger brush to block the colour in, and then I'll do the edges with the smaller brush. I'll just go a wee bit closer on the seams on that hat because I want to be using a darker colour adjacent to them, so it is far better to go closer with the light colour than it is with the darker. I'm going to have to let that dry because there is, and it's going to have to be a thorough dry because there is too much handling the miniature that I'm having to do just to protect that, you know, really fragile leg joint, and I don't want it all coming off all over the place. Oh, okay, back to that one. Okay, let's get this red blocked in. Oh, that was very fiddly work, but it is coming together. Okay, time to block in the last colour, and I am using Old Imperial Purple. Yes, I could have used a more vibrant purple, but he is undead, so I do want a little bit of muted colour on it. And essentially, apart from sort of like the scarf and the belt, and I haven't decided on what to do with them yet, I am going to use that basically for the tops of the boots and the jacket and sort of like the rest of the hat. And the idea behind it is to give that sort of like harlequin contrast with all of the colours. Swap my small brush just to do the edging. Yeah, that's looking far better. Alright, still a way to go, but progress. Now, on this channel, one of the things that I always try and do is own up to mistakes and show you where I've made them, so that you don't have to. And I believe I have made a mistake in painting earlier on in the miniature. One of the things I have realised I want to do is give the whole lot a watered down flesh wash just to dull down the colours and get a little bit of contrast and a bit of shadow and detail showing through. So I should have waited to do the bones at that point rather than doing them first. It's one of those things I may just have to redo over them at the end. However, moving along, this is Tamiya dark yellow, and I'm just going to quickly get that staff painted in because then we are going to be onto metallic colours. Half of the fun and the issue with doing paint jobs on fantasy miniatures is working out what colour scheme you're going to be doing. And I have finally decided that for the sash and the necktie, rather than try and do it multicolour, I'm just going to go with an ultramarine blue. And I'm just using a fine brush because these are quite fine areas. Yeah, that's starting to give quite nice contrast. And I think I'll also do the hat over here as well. It's a shame, unfortunately, he's had one of the tassels broken off, but I don't think it's going to detract too much. Alright, and now I have the long, laborious and painstaking job of applying gold. Right, the last bit of colour, and this is going to be so painstaking. I'm not sure whether you can see on camera. All of this jacket has, well, bells sewn onto it. So it is an awful lot of gold work to be done, and each one of these bells has to be painted in by hand. And it doesn't look much on camera, but once the flesh wash has been added, that certainly brings out the richness of gold. I've always found that. I will see you in a few hours. Oh, alright, that's done. I almost lost the will to live there. Yeah, okay, flesh wash next after that is all dried, and I will see what else has to be done. Now, here is hoping it's the last coat. I'm going to do a flesh wash. I'm going to try and avoid the bones that I've already done, but there's no guarantee about that. This technique is essentially the same as dipping a miniature, and you do see Army Painter has some decent dips. Basically you just block in all the base coat and then you dip it in the tin and it puts kind of a sepia tone onto the miniature and everything comes out kind of shaded, and that's what I'm hoping is going to happen with this one. I may need to do a bit of a touch up on some areas if it doesn't quite work, but let's see how it goes. Oh, I didn't do too bad a job of that. I think that is that one done. I will leave that to dry and then show you a photo. Well, the Red Jester is here to wish you a Merry Christmas. Stay out of trouble. Please subscribe and we'll have another video for you tomorrow. Bye for now.